Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about how much does it cost to have a major medical condition in the Philippines. Usually I'm doing videos on a house build and how my house is coming along in Toledo, but I had a lot of people ask, hey, if you're retired in the Philippines and you don't really have medical insurance, how much does it cost to have, if you have a major problem or something like that? So I thought, okay, I'll take a few minutes and tell you what happened to me. And if you're like me, you're retired in the Philippines, insurance, you get all kinds of things on Facebook and everything about, hey, you can buy insurance easily in the Philippines. And then when you go and look at how much they're offering at Pacific Life or whoever you want, they all say, oh, well, if you're over 65, we're not going to cover you. And then once you do cover over 65, they're talking about a cap of 200,000 pesos and for incident and different things like that. And you really have no idea how much does it cost to have something. So here's what happened to me. I'll tell you my personal story and some of the costs, and it gives you an idea. And if you're interested, fine. If not, click buy. It's no big deal. So what happened to me was I woke up one morning and I had a major heart attack, and really, it was really bad. I mean, I could paralyzed, could barely move. Luckily, I remembered my daughter, who's actually a doctor, a cardiac specialist, actually said, hey, if you ever have any kind of a condition like this, take some baby aspirin right away and chew them, and I'll get it within your system within just a few minutes. So I was within arm's reach of the dresser where she had actually given me some probably 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And I chewed about 5 of them, and the pain subsided enough where I was able to at least stand up. We went to the local, I'm in a place called Toledo, Cebu, so it's a very small place in the province. I'm a half mile from the public hospital, so we got in the car and drove up the street. Luckily, my wife has got some friends that work there, so they were able to get me into the emergency room. But they weren't able to stabilize me. They did an ECG, and the doctor said, hey, look, you're having a heart attack now. We can't figure out how to stop it. And they'd given me all kinds of drugs, and nothing was working. So finally they did this ISO drip that my daughter told them to put me on, and it was able to stabilize me. So they ran about 3 different tests. They ran an ECG twice, 3 lab tests, plus all the drugs they gave me. And I was actually transported 56 kilometers to Cebu Doctors University Hospital, which is really one of the top hospitals in the Philippines, in the Cebu area. So spending this emergency room bill in Toledo City, the 2 ECG tests, the 3 different sets of lab tests to look for markers for a heart attack, plus all the drugs they gave me, including the ambulance ride, which normally it takes an hour to an hour and a half to get to Cebu from Toledo. You have to cross the mountains or go around the long way. The ambulance actually was a 30-minute ride. They made it there in 30 minutes, although it wasn't like midnight by this time, 1 o'clock in the morning, so there was no traffic. But it was like a roller coaster ride, of course, but it was good. But total cost of that, out the door, they actually wanted to pay before we left, was 6,000 pesos. So that's the total cost. When we arrived at Doctors University Hospital, they did want, I went to emergency there, sat in the emergency area until they could get me a room. They wanted a 20,000 peso down payment, I guess, to check in, because I didn't have any insurance at all. All my insurances don't cover it here in the Philippines, and I never did take out PhilHealth. I was thinking about it, then I looked it up, and the benefits of PhilHealth, there's not a whole lot, although probably would have saved me a little bit of money, because it does give me, in a private hospital, I still get 20% off on hospitals bills, but as it turned out, they gave me a discount. But I got here to Doctor's Hospital. They put me in a private room. They put me in ICU, intensive care. I had to get a angiogram, they call it, where they put you in the emergency room. They put you on a machine where they can see your heart, and they run a heart cath if you need one. It turns out I had to have a wire, a hard cath through my wrist and in through my leg because they couldn't get through the blockage. They found two major blockages. They said it was catastrophic, actually. My daughter did contact them, and they were nice enough to talk to my daughter during surgery, actually, because she's a heart specialist working at Vanderbilt. And they use one of the newest techniques. They have a new stent that they put in that medicated. It's just brand new. It's from the U.S. and it's good quality. It was invasive cardiac surgery, so it all worked out pretty well. Actually, I was able to stabilize and back in the ICU in a private room. So if you're really wondering, I've got the bills here, and they're pretty thick. If you want to just know how much does it cost for a cardiac surgeon in the Philippines. So first off, the emergency room bill just to be let into the emergency room was 1,800 pesos. So US dollars, not very much. The surgery itself, the stent and all that, the different doctors, there are actually 4 different doctors here that actually worked on me. The one doctor charged 40,000 pesos, the other one 54,000. The main cardiac surgeon, who's the evasive specialist that did the actual stent installation, was 271,000. And then for reading my results was 500 pesos. So that came to 367,362 pesos. Of that, the hospital gave me a 25,000 peso discount. So that took me to 342,905 pesos just for the surgery itself. Now the cost of a private room in this hospital, in ICU, was 2,900 pesos a day, and I was in the hospital for 5 days. Now there's lots of drugs they give you, there's lots of machines, they charge you separately for every machine they hook up to you. If you've never been to a hospital in the Philippines, it's a little bit different in the States. They give you all the drugs here in the Philippines. I mean, in Doctor's Hospital, they supply, because if you're in a public hospital, like in the one in Toledo, they give you all the drugs, but they don't really charge you for them. What they do is they give the person that's with you a prescription for the drugs that you had, and you go to the nearest pharmacy and buy them, and you bring them back and you replenish the supply in the local hospital. So it only costs you whatever it is you pay at the pharmacy. So like in my case at the public hospital in Toledo, it came to 700 pesos. So that's a little over like $12 or something like that. In the doctor's hospital, they supply all that. They do give you a detailed bill of how much it costs, but they don't supply things like if you need wipes in the room, if you need paper towels, if they need gloves, if they need cleaning supplies, things like that. They do give you dinner, lunch, dinner, and breakfast is all there, so that's all paid for. But some small cleaning supplies, thing like that, a person with you has to run out and go and buy, which really isn't all that expensive. Total cost for me with this thing in 5 days in ICU, out the door at Doctor's Hospital was 700,000 pesos. So this is the cost of a private room and a fairly high tier. And I'll have to say, they came in, I don't know, a zillion times to check my blood pressure, to check all the machines, to check everything, to give me all my drugs. They supplied all that stuff. It was like a 7x24 service. It was really excellent service. No issues that I had whatsoever. 700,000 pesos at the time, because of the exchange rate, was about $11,000. How did I pay? I had a IHG credit card, which I have a fairly high limit on, and it was easy. My wife went down daily and just found out what the bill was, and we kind of paid on a daily basis. So by the time I was ready to check out, I had to pay my final bill, which was like 200,000 pesos. And that paid me up for the day, and I was able to get out. So 700,000 paid up. They do have a thing here where they want you to pay if you don't have insurance, and if somebody does have to sign a promissory note. You can check out without paying your bill, but only after you've made a arrangement on how you're going to pay, and you have to sign off for it. In my case, since I was paid up 100%, they gave me a "Hey, he's paid up 100% sticker." I just showed it to the guard on checkout, and he let the car pull up, and we had a car come and get me. It cost me $50 for a limousine to come pick me up and drive me all the way to 56 kilometers back home. Now there's a follow-up test that they wanted to have a month later. The follow-up was 3 lab tests, a blood test, another ECG. The total lab for that, I went to Precision Diagnostics in Cebu. The total cost of that was 2,900 pesos. Then had to go see the doctor the same day, the same cardiac specialist, and he went through it with me, gave me new prescriptions for all the drugs. That was 500 peso charge only. My drugs, I had my daughter look at it, and she said in the States, those drugs with insurance, it's about $500 a month. The drugs here, they're all from Pfizer, they're all US brand. I bought for 2 months supply for all 6 drugs, and there's drugs to limit your platelets, there's drugs to thin your blood, there's drugs to regulate your heartbeat, there's losartan, which is just a drug for normal HGL and things like that. Total cost for 2 months supply was $200, so $100 a month. So same drugs you normally buy in the States here are much cheaper. So that's it for that. The only other thing was there's cardiac rehab that I had to do, and you could either go to a cardiac rehab center, which the price of that was 30,000 pesos, or you could do rehab at home. Since I wasn't anywhere as close to a rehab center, I did it online, and I did it for free through a thing on YouTube through the UK, and I just did that for free. And I did all my own exercises, just make sure I did them every day, and it worked through it all. So now I went after my checkup, I did all my tests, I did another ECG, everything's fine. I don't have to go back for another 3 months, and then I'll have some more tests running for another 3,000 pesos. So the total cost was, the 700,000 plus the 6,000 from Toledo, plus the $100 a month for drugs. So that's how much it costs. So if you pay out of pocket totally, and you go to a private room. Now, if you go to a public hospital, it's going to cost you a lot less than that. Although I'll have to tell you, if you go to a public hospital, you won't have a private room, and you're going to be in a ward. So you'll be sharing it with quite a few people. There's no privacy or anything like that. It's not quite as nice as the private room in the private hospital was just like anything I've ever been in the States. It's really nice. The room had everything, including the people that stay with you. They've got little cots, little beds built in there. They actually can sleep there with you, and they eat there with you, and they can stay with you 24/7 if they wish. They don't have any problem with people staying there. You have your private bathroom and shower. You're all set up, so it's pretty nice. So that's my experience. I know it's not a super lot of detail. I think people mostly wanted to get down to the bottom line. Well, how much does it cost? So if you have a major cardiac event, and you're go through a top of the line hospital, and you have your private room, that's what it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you between $10,000 and $12,000. You can have your own insurance. Now, some people say, well, I'm going to go back and fly back to the UK, or I'll fly back to the States and Medicare will cover it. Well, you can, unless you have something like I did, where it was a major event and had to be treated right away. So you won't have time to get on a plane and travel anywhere. So unless you've got insurance, that's what the out-of-pocket cost is going to cost you. So Manila, same class, pretty much same prices. Okay, so I hope it helps you out. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I'll answer whatever I can. Thanks.